All right, we're going to be reacting to Channel 5 with Andrew Callaghan's new video recently released about the Palestine Rally, October 2023. I didn't watch the Q Shaman Comes Home video that was released a week ago. I'm familiar with Andrew's past and the controversy. Let's roll.
Anti-Semitism, as we know, is hatred and prejudice and racism towards Jewish people and their faith and their ethnicity. Anti-Zionism is a movement fighting against the occupation. This is a settler colonial fascist regime that we're seeing attempting to wipe out an entire indigenous civilian population.
In your perspective, what is Zionism?
75 years of brutal occupation, ethnic cleansing, apartheid, and colonization of the Palestinian people.
That's a mouthful.
Israel is a Zionist state, and I think that's what we really have to focus on today. Yeah, hello, my name is Stauda. I'm part of the Palestinian youth movement, and we're here with the Palestinian and Arab youth in the diaspora, as well as our solidarity allies, demanding that the siege and end on Gaza, and for the blockade to be lifted where they have been under blockade for 16 years, where they've been denied the basic human rights of just living a life along with having food, water, fuel, electricity. And we're here also to talk about the 75 years of military occupation that Palestine has been under since 1948. People need to see the Palestinians for who they are.
Okay, a lot of this is new to me. Just trying to get more educated about things, especially out in my United States bubble. That's me. I'm trying my best to, take it all in.
Are part of a revolutionary struggle for liberation.
We understand Zionism to be a form of white supremacy, and the people have a right to resist their occupiers by any means necessary.
What do you think about Hamas?
I will not. You're not asking the right questions. It's the wrong question. I think that we can't equate the colonizer with the colonized. We can't equate the occupier with the occupied. It implies that these are equal parties, and it's not equal parties.
So you feel like violence is a reaction to oppression?
Yes.
But they also have the moral right to defend themselves against their colonizers and their occupiers. And this is something that we really need to focus on as media. And instead of painting Palestinians and dehumanizing them and demonizing them and putting all these anti-Arab and anti-Muslim tropes against them, which the West has been imposing to justify the ethnic cleansing that Israel has already done and will continue to do. So this is something that we need to focus on and see the Palestinians are there defending themselves as part of a revolutionary struggle for liberation.
We need our countries back. That's it.
Free, free Palestine. From the land, From the land to the sea. Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea, that's right. Yeah, from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free.
Rockets were fired into Israel as gunmen infiltrated several border towns and bases.
They swarmed into Israel by land, sea, and even on paragliders. And then they went on a rampage, slaughtering civilians.
I saw this clip. But seeing clips from the paragliders themselves, I didn't see that. I saw this clip.
Day in Jewish history in terms of deaths since the Holocaust. 1,300 people died.
What can you tell us about what's going on?
Well, the rage goes all the way back. Basically what we have two nationalist movements that are vying for control over a piece of territory. Hamas is in charge of the Gaza Strip, which is in the south of Israel, on the coast. It was founded in 1987 during the first uprising against Israeli occupation.
I gotta rewind that back.
Hamas for control, 1,500 people. It's a horrible situation, yeah. And it was the worst day in Jewish history in terms of deaths since the Holocaust. 1,300 people died.
And what can you tell
people
us
died?
what's going on?
Well, the rage goes all the way back. Basically what we have two nationalist movements that are vying for control over a piece of territory. Hamas is in charge of the Gaza Strip, which is in the south of Israel, on the coast. It was founded in 1987 during the first uprising against Israeli occupation. Hamas won elections actually in 2006 and then took over the Gaza Strip in 2007. Hamas's charter said that all of Palestine should be an Islamic state. On a core level, it believes that Palestine is a gift of God. It's a religious endowment, and that they really can't surrender any part of that religious endowment. For Jews, it was a place that has been remembered in Jewish prayer and Jewish history. The Jews actually had a kingdom there under David and Solomon, and were there until the Romans threw them out. And so the idea was the restoration of the community back to its ancestral land. And so therefore what we see is two groups that are vying for control over a single small area, actually, about the size of New Jersey. The thing about Gaza, which your audience should know, is that Gaza is a extraordinarily crowded, one of the most crowded places on earth, extraordinarily poor society, in which about half the population is under the age of 18. So any Israeli incursion.
Rewind back to the part where he said your audience should know. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
That are vying for control over a single small area, actually, about the size of New Jersey. The thing about Gaza, which your audience should know, is that Gaza is a extraordinarily crowded
places on earth. One of the most crowded places on earth.
Society, in which about half the population is under the age of 18. So any Israeli incursion into Gaza is going to be killing a lot of children.
If you're living in Gaza, are you allowed to travel freely throughout Israel?
No.
Can you just go for the weekend?
No.
This is new to me. These things are new to me.
You're pretty much isolated in Gaza.
I don't know where the West Bank is.
Is there an airport?
No.
No airport.
So in order to be
There's only one power plant. I learned that.
Go through checkpoints. And it's not a free movement to travelers. One of my students, for example, was a Palestinian from Gaza, and Palestinians have to be back in the territories at nightfall.
Okay, we're 5 minutes into the video. It's good work. I'm learning a lot. I tried to learn about these things. I've watched those Conan O'Brien specials where he goes to Israel and has the remotes. And, this is the first time it has been laid out to me, what the process is of what this man just said. This is new to me, so.
They can't stay in Israel proper. So he had to actually camp out in the West Bank to go to university in the West Bank, in spite of the fact that his home was in Gaza, because he couldn't pass through Israel in order to go from one to the other.
And that curfew is imposed by Israel?
By Israel.
Why?
Well, that's a question for the Israelis, actually. The Israelis think that, the Palestinians are dangerous. There was a second uprising that took place in 2000 against Israeli occupation, and it was extraordinarily bloody.
Extraordinarily bloody.
Family in Palestine?
Yes, I do.
How are they doing?
We lost 14 relatives in the bombardment, and currently I haven't heard from relatives in about 12 hours. So
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What's their life like out there?
There is no life.
Deadly retribution is raining down on Gaza.
Yeah, more and more these days.
It's targeting Hamas with waves of airstrikes.
I've seen these types of clips. But it's still surprising.
This is why the people of Palestine have a right to resist. There is no life in Gaza. Israel has made it their mission to make sure that there is no life for the Gazans that are living in the Gaza Strip.
For 16 years, the Israeli government has suffocated Palestinians in Gaza under a draconian air, sea, and land military blockade, imprisoning and starving over 2 million people and denying them medical aid.
So I think when we're looking at a few days ago, I think it's really important to look at the history of Palestine and contextualize what's happening. A lot of people want to believe that this is a random moment that happened on October 7th. But realistically speaking, this is not true. This is a building upon a military occupation that has been happening for 75 plus years, and Gaza specifically for 16 years.
Gaza's been under blockade for 16 years. No one can leave.
They've been denied the basic human rights of just living a life along with having food, water, fuel, electricity.
And that's what we're focusing on here today.
Like I said, 16 years of siege, 16 years of being held hostage in an open-air prison where you have been denied everything, where your family has been killed, where you have to hold your dying child and bury them while you have to survive. Like, we have to look at the history of Gazans and people in Palestine.
You've had a series of wars. 1948 was the most important for our benefit. That was when the State of Israel was declared, Arab armies invaded, and about 720,000 Palestinians were forced to flee. In the wake of that, basically the Palestinians called 1948, the Israelis call it the War of Independence, Palestinians call it the Nakba, the disaster, you know. And ever since then, the issue of Palestine has been on and off the international agenda.
The politicians...
I'll be honest, I'm spacing out. This is...
It means catastrophe. It's what happened in 1948 when almost 1 million people were displaced practically overnight.
I'm filming my raw reaction. Like, I space out. I mean, I woke up an hour ago.
Have to hold your dying child and bury them while you have to survive. Like,
yeah, these things, they...
The history of Gazans and people in Palestine.
You've had a series of wars.
I'm paying attention.
48 was the most important for our benefit. That was when the State of Israel was declared, Arab armies invaded, and about 720,000 Palestinians were forced to flee. In the wake of that, basically the Palestinians called 1948, the Israelis call it the War of Independence, Palestinians call it the Nakba, the disaster, you know. And ever since then, the issue of Palestine has been on and off the international agenda.
The politicians are calling for a second...
Like what you just said, I have trouble understanding what that all means.
Nakba, if you don't know what Nakba is, it means catastrophe. It's what happened in 1948 when almost 1 million people were displaced practically overnight, and genocide and massacres of over 250 Palestinian villages. And we're seeing politicians, not just from the Israeli side, but also the US and other European politicians calling for the leveling of Gaza, calling for a complete annihilation of the Palestinian people.
Do you think the majority of people in Gaza are against Hamas?
I would say that that's not important. I think what's important here is condemning the violence and the blockade.
Because I'm Jewish, right, and I'm Israeli, so I'm very interested, and I have friends that are Palestinian, but some are in West Bank, only 1 or 2 friends from Gaza. But a big concern for us, I would say, is that people have no choice. Like, if you wanted to speak out against Hamas, would it be essentially safe for all your family members still living there?
I don't think you're asking the right questions.
I'm just saying it's a true question because not a lot of us would have those rights in Gaza. And that's not because of Gaza, it's not because of the great Palestinian people that make that place, it's because of Hamas. Hamas is a...
I'm a little... I mean, other people are confused too. I'm watching. When she asks, not asking the right questions, it's a lot to take in.
Terrorist organization that runs that. Palestinian people didn't do it, Hamas did, and they've radicalized their whole spot. And now the time has come that there's a second Holocaust. 1,300 plus people were killed. That would be equal to over 35,000 Americans, if that was in America per capita. Could you just say that is fucking horrible?
Where was the international outcry when Israel killed more than 200 Palestinians before the recent events in 2023? I'm here to speak on behalf of my people. So with that, I'm going to leave.
I mean, if the Sinaloa cartel sliced up everyone in Texas and New Mexico, what do you think America would do, based on what you know America to be today? Plus, it's not just Jews, Arabs, Palestinian Arabs, people from Thailand, Italy, Germany, a whole music festival. Do you go to music festivals? You're watching this channel. Do you go to music festivals? People from the music festival contacted me and said, share my story. I was there watching people get slaughtered. The same people that play at Coachella, the same people play at Lollapalooza. And this is a music festival. So to regurgitate settler-colonialists, how many Jews are white? Brown Jews, black Jews, white Jews. We're not white here, we're not white there. Too much of this world being negative. I'm like, bro, for 1 fucking second, could you condemn Hamas terrorists? They're like, I don't gotta. I don't know what you wanna. I'm from Argentina. What's the favorite place of vacation? The Bahamas. I'll turn them into hummus. Dills on the microphone, cook up what you looking. They got me.
Oh, God.
Khalifa, Roger Waters, out of order. They'll sue you with everything. Don't test the Jewish lawyers. I'm talking like here. We exposed back from Gush Katif. I'm trying to have.
Why is he rapping? It's
Tel Aviv. I'm talking down to the place when y'all looking for deals on the microphone, avenging the death of every child in a kibbutz. So prefer here, I don't gotta know you what it thought it was, because I don't need protection from anybody or police officers. I'm repping for my people. The flow is my seat up, and I don't need to rap for other people, not a good idea. When I'm rocking in the zone, I'm not saying it's racist, but ironically, we're here in front of the Israeli embassy. Shabbat Shalom.
Channel 5 Live Worldwide, Hollywood and Vine. Fuck the authority, Channel 5 News. Channel 55, we don't fuck with custers, and 5 is the best number.
That's an interesting ending. Yeah, that's a video. Can't say anything else productive to it. Guess the final thing I want to say is that old white scholarly guy. He sounds like that scholarly guy, the museum curator in the Simpsons episode where Lisa finds the truth about Jebediah Springfield. Oh, they sounded like. That timbre of voice can be really authoritative. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, that guy in the thumbnail.